Good evening, everybody. It's Fredrina with Trinity Professional Group. I am back for our first Trinity 10 of the week. This week's topic, like I said, I was going to choose a topic last week. I was just trying to breathe and get back into it, y'all. It was rough. I don't know what sickness that was. I don't know what was going on, but it was really tough on your girl. But thankfully, I can breathe without coughing. I can talk without trying to hold my throat together some kind of way. So I'm excited. But this week's topic is something that is super close to anybody in business, really, whether you're just starting out, whether you are getting better at your business, whether you've got new clients, whether you've got new customers, whatever it is. This is pertinent for everyone, and it's more so about your mindset, how you perceive what you're dealing with, how you perceive your ebbs and flows. And for this week's video topic, we are going to be talking about faltering is not failure, you guys. Faltering is not failure. What does that mean? So to falter means you could have been in a bad business deal. You could have had a bad contract. You could have had a bad batch of product. You could have had a delayed truck. You could have an issue with your lease for your warehouse. Any little thing that comes to nudge you but does have an impact on your bottom line or has an impact on your revenue, whatever it may hit the most. Sometimes when it's profit-wise, the hit comes a little later, or the hit is more of a residual issue as opposed to being an upfront thing, right? Like that one late truck didn't seem like much, but once it became late multiple times, you had to pay for sitting fees, because sometimes if you're not unloading your trucks at a certain time and that truck has to sit there, you have to pay for that, right? So those things that don't seem like a huge hit at the beginning, but could, like I said, in the residual sense, in the later on sense, those things are faltering. And a lot of times, as I'll speak, kind of on levels with it, as small business owners, when we falter, the impact is a little harder. It's all on us. We pay everything. We are our brand. We're the face of our company. We are the everything doer. Sometimes I know a lot of people are moving to virtual assistants, but for the most part, you still are your brand. You have to do the work. You have to do the advertising. You have to be the marketer. And then when you do have your executive assistant or virtual assistant, they're more so doing the background stuff, the emails, the invoicing, things like that. But for you, for the most part, you are it, right? So when you falter, a lot of times it can seem like you failed. It can seem like, oh my gosh, I hit this brick wall. I've totaled out my business vehicle and I have no more left. I have nothing else left to do. I don't feel like continuing. I don't feel like moving on to the next step. I don't feel like getting more clients. I don't feel like getting into another contract. I don't feel like getting another warehouse. I don't feel like moving all this stuff. I don't feel like contacting another transportation driver. All of these things that can make you want to stop. It can make you feel like everything I did was for naught, right? But when it comes to business, a falter oftentimes presents an opportunity within itself. So that moment where, okay, my truck didn't get here in time, or my truck didn't deliver my products in time, excuse me, that can present an opportunity. I'm sure that happened quite a bit. I don't know if you guys saw my video when I talked about how Amazon actually became the #1 delivery service in the United States. And it did not start out that way. Jeff Bezos, of course, started out with selling books online. And then once that blew up and magnified, now we see him having built an infrastructure where he has his own trucks, right? And so, and building a subset within his business, he's now created another way where he's the best again. Beyond e-commerce, he's now the best when it comes to delivery. So whenever you have a falter, whenever you have a moment, it is imperative that you shift your mindset and shift your perspective. I'm not speaking to you guys out of like a rah-rah, this is what you should do for business and it feels great. Oh, don't look at that loss as a loss. Go ahead and shift on to the next thing. Figure out how it's going to be great. No, okay, it sucks. And it's okay to cry. It's okay to take that hit and be like, oh, it's a slight like gut punch or you lose your breath over, it is okay, you guys, especially for small business owners. But after you do that, see what it can teach you. See where, with infrastructure, I talk a lot about like buttoning up your insides, making sure your process is good, making sure that if something happens, you can go back and pinpoint exactly what infrastructure you put in place that impacted that issue, right? So make sure you keep your infrastructure tight and make sure you keep your mindset in a way of constantly learning. You're constantly evolving. And like I said, of course it hurts, but don't focus on that hurt. Try and find something you can learn from that. So back to my example about Jeff Bezos. I'm sure a couple times he had some pretty upset customers because they didn't get their books in time. They didn't get their items in time. They didn't get whatever it was that was being delivered in time by him depending on UPS, by him depending on USPS, by him depending on FedEx, all of these things like that ended up impacting him more, and he possibly had to pay double because not only is he paying for them to deliver his product, now he has to possibly reimburse a customer, or he has to figure out a way to give out a free gift to satisfy that customer who had a delayed package, right? So there's so many adverse things that can end up impacting you. And so when it comes to this thing, there are always ways to get out of it, and there's possibly a way to capitalize on it. And Jeff Bezos did just that. He used the amount of time that he spent with these companies to see what they did wrong, to see where they were failing, to see where he could possibly come in and fulfill that need on his own. I'm sure he didn't start with a whole fleet of trucks at first. I'm sure he didn't start with a whole fleet of delivery drivers, but he probably had his little subset areas or his hot spots where he was able to find that opportunity and then capitalize on that opportunity and make himself the largest delivery company when that wasn't even what he set out to do, right? So faltering is not failure, you guys. There's always a way for you to rebound, and in rebounding, if you can capitalize on that, that would be amazing. Okay, that's what you really want to do. That's why keeping a certain mindset about that falter, keeping a certain mindset about that setback is crucial, because if you miss the opportunity to learn, there's a possibility you will repeat it, and that repeat could possibly impact your company far worse than it did the first time, right? So if we just had an issue with $15,000 for a truck, being sent 400 miles down the road, at least it's not $30,000 when that truck is sent double the amount or sent across state lines and it's 3 times the amount, right? So if you know how to observe your falter, if you know how to observe that setback, if you know how to observe what caused you to hit the wall and then change it, this could be perfect for you. I think even for bigger businesses, I'll probably have to carry over into part 2 for this section, but for bigger businesses as well, there's always a way for you to come out of a falter. I know that with companies like Samsung, companies like Nokia, companies like Motorola, there's always a way for you to come out of it. A lot of the pieces that we use within our phones, like right now I'm recording on an iPhone. Samsung actually makes the cameras. Samsung makes, I don't know if it's the glass or like the backs for the iPhone. I don't know how it goes. But they make pieces for the iPhone. So while Samsung may not be as popular, while Samsung may falter, while Samsung may not be quite as competitive as Apple is as far as the amount of hands they're in, they still have a piece in there where they're utilized and their perspective has shifted and caused them to be able to capitalize on that shift, right? So, again, I repeat, faltering is not failure. Faltering is not failure, especially if your mindset is tuned to find it as an opportunity. And said opportunity, it could be more impactful and more monumental than your original business set out to be, you guys. It could be incredible. So I really want you to remember that you have to feel it when you do falter, you guys. You have to feel it. You have to know that those emotions that you had wrapped up in that deal, the emotions you had wrapped up in that idea, the emotions you had wrapped up in fronting the money for that product to come and you sell it and then get your return, you guys, that hurts. It does. It hurts. But I don't want you to see it as a failure. We cannot see it as a failure and expect to stay in business, because your positivity keeps you moving, you guys. All right. So this will be the end of part 1, but I will come back for my bigger businesses in part 2. And make sure you go ahead and follow me on Facebook, subscribe to my YouTube channel, please. I appreciate it. And on top of that, I will be continuing to post my book, The Conscious Leader. You guys, there's some amazing stuff in there. Real world examples, real life things that you can use not only in business, not only at work, but also with your family. Learning to listen and embody the total person so that you can put them in the right place to succeed. All right. So I will see you guys on Thursday for part 2, where we talk about big businesses and faltering is not failure. Bye.